From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check, as the author behind the monthly stimulus check proposal now writes a letter to Nancy and Chuck, and it's signed by 100+ Democrats. The message? Call the vote. Incredible great news. In this recording, we'll go over the breaking news happening just minutes ago, with that letter now revealed, calling the vote on the two-step two-bill process right away. It's incredible news, and I'll go over that monthly stimulus check that starts the month of July, why this is so much money, and why the vote's being called. It's breaking on Afternoons LA. Then we go to fifth stimulus in the second half of this recording, why SSI and STI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits will be lifted in the fifth stimulus package and may also have a massive lift after that because of new breaking details coming on Afternoons LA. And then in the middle of this recording, we go over the big money, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, landing automatically in your bank account, and some you have to get together. We're going to get it together, whether it's a tow truck or an EV Ford pickup driven by the president. We're going over the finish line together. This is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LA with incredible big news about your fourth stimulus check. Great news. As in this recording, we go over the monthly stimulus check, how much you're going to get. And then in the middle of this recording, we go over the breaking developing details as we now see a new letter from congressional leaders calling for the vote and why they're calling for the vote and when the vote will happen. Jaw-dropping great news. In the second half of this recording, we go over fifth stimulus and why the breaking news out of the Federal Reserve today signals that the interest rate this fall could be much bigger and your benefits could be even bigger than that. Incredible big news. This is LALATE, the biggest and only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel. From Wall Street to Main Street, from my home to your home, crypto to stimulus, everything covered, everything to get you financially stable throughout this entire year. So make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Let's go to 1 million. Let's do it. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Let's get to the breaking news. Let's start with the fourth stimulus check, how much you're going to get, but I want you to pay exponential attention to a name and a word that you see when we talk about the fourth stimulus package. The fourth stimulus package starts with a House and a Senate proposal, and the House proposal was written by two people. One of the people who wrote the House proposal, name is Jalapal. Listen to that name and listen to it because you're going to hear it in just a few seconds from now. Let's compare the House versus Senate proposal. The House proposal written by Jalapal and her collaborator in the House is a pandemic plus 1 year stimulus package, meaning you will get a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. So let's say the pandemic is 3 more months, then you get 3 more months of stimulus checks plus 1 year after that. 15 months of stimulus checks. The Senate proposal is July to December in stimulus checks, 6 of them. And then there's the monthly amount, House versus Senate. The House members provide $1,000 after the first month. Senators provide stimulus checks for an amount unknown, but word on the street is it's this from the Senate. Wow. $2,000 a month over 6 months, or $12,000, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400 per person. Incredible, great news. Now, before we go over the breaking news that's impacting this, let's go over the calculations and who gets this. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? You do. If you got the third stimulus check, you get the fourth one. If you're on SSI, STI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits, you get the fourth stimulus check. If you make less than $75,000, you get the fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Just double it. And if you are a household of 4 or less, you're getting the fourth stimulus check. Just quadruple it. It is not income, so it's not taxable. There is no different stimulus check for adult dependents or minor dependents. Everyone gets the same one. Great amount, same amount, great news. And finally, it would not come in waves, meaning it would come in the month of July for the month of July and continuing thereafter. It would not come in a different week for every person. Remember, I'm just a reporter. I'm reporting the news. I'm not a legislator. They make their representations. And today, Nancy Pelosi confirmed her previous representation that the vote is in July, that the bill would go to a vote by July 4th. That means the first stimulus check would land in the month of July for the month of July. Then August for the month of August. Incredible, great news. But I have big other great news about the fourth stimulus and what's happening with Jalapal later in this recording, so stay with me. But that's the fourth stimulus check updated 2021, how much you're going to get it and when you're going to get it. But now let me give you a preview of what's coming up in the second half of this recording. Huge breaking news about your fifth stimulus check, fifth stimulus package. The fifth stimulus package is in September. And it raises your SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and survivor benefits one time and adds a benchmark. That benchmark is inflation. Well, we got a new hint about where the inflation rate may be minutes ago from the Federal Reserve. Oh boy, this could be very good for your benefits. Spoiler alert, it's going to be. I have all those details coming up in the second half of this recording, but let's turn to some big money landing in your bank account starting today, and some money you can get right away. So the first money you can get is $5,000 to $25,000, and it's part of the third stimulus package. When the third stimulus package passed, I said, I want you to get this money because, yeah, you'll get a $14 stimulus check, but there is tens of thousands of dollars of other money available for you under the third stimulus package, now law. Well, guess what? It's now landing this week, last week and next week. And it's part of the $350 billion payout from the federal government to your city, state, and county. So where do you get it? Let's go to number one, rent. A lot of money for rent. If you have a pen and paper, grab it. If you don't, get a pen and paper ready because I have a lot of money over this entire recording. Stay with it at the very end. I got a lot of money to get you in this video. First, this money for rent is about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. So it's incredible, great news. Go get it. Where do you get it? City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. Reach out to them and ask for rent assistance because of COVID. Then they have money for utilities. Then they have money for mortgage assistance. And finally, they have money for homeowners' utilities. Incredible, great news. Now let's turn to SNAP. SNAP is about $14,000 to $16,000 for a family of 4 in Hawaii. Wow, why so much? Because of 2 executive orders, one from Trump and one from Biden that raised it 15% over 1 year. So what is SNAP? It's money for food. How do you get it? Call 211 and ask for Department of Agriculture, DOA, and they will get you that incredible money. So there you go, about $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent in any state across the country approximately. We're doing really good and we're only 8 minutes into this video, but here you go. What I want you to know is that third stimulus is available for you right now, but it's a big reality check that I have to give you, not 1, but 2 reality checks. Reality check number 1, that when they pass the third stimulus package in the spring, they wanted you to go get this money because the single biggest payout you're ever going to see in the history of this channel, it's a lot of money. And why else? Because they're going to lift the eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance in a few weeks, meaning get rid of it. So there will no longer be an eviction protection and there'll no longer be a mortgage forbearance. Why? Because they devised this so you would get the money for rent first or mortgage assistance first and get caught up. So go get it. As I first coined the expression, Purple Hawks, hawk, hawk, get the money first before it runs out. And also, the important news is that you want to get the money before the eviction moratorium or mortgage forbearance goes away. Stimulus stampede across the board. So now let's turn to the big exciting news. As thousands of dollars is landing in your bank account automatically starting this week. Wow, where is this coming from? Your states. Thousands of dollars is landing from the states if you were paid before and asked to return money to no fault of your own. What's going on? The federal government has stepped in and ordered states to return money back to you that you return back to the states. What happened? Some states paid thousands of dollars to viewers this channel. One viewer got $5,000. And then the state said, oh, we had a computer malfeasance. Return the money. It was not your error. It was our computer misfired. And you return the money. Guess what? Federal government has stepped in and said, no, you should not have had to return the money. It was yours. Now the states have been ordered to return that money back to you. Watch for it. It's landing in the deposit account that you have on file with your unemployment office. Reach out to your state to learn the routing time. Every state is different. Which turns us to the second big lump of money landing this week and the remainder of this month. It is the returning of your taxes you paid on your unemployment benefits. What is this amount? How much money is it? How are you going to get it? And when you're going to get it? I'm going to go over all those 3 steps starting right now. First, how much? It is the taxes you paid on unemployment to IRS. So here's an example. You had a $9,000 of unemployment last year. You paid $5,000 total taxes to IRS, of which $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment section. You're getting a $4,000 check sent back to you, which brings me to then the question, how? How are you going to get the money? You're going to get the money in a mailed check, likely in the mailbox. That's a white or beige envelope with a yellow check in there, so watch for it. It will be from Department of Treasury or IRS, and the subject line will be refund. And finally, when? 3 phases IRS now confirms. Phase 1 are single filers with nothing else complicated on their return. Phase 2 are more complicated return filers who are single filers who may have dependents. And phase 3 are joint filers. Phase 1 gets paid the remainder of this week. Phase 2 starts the end of this week and continues in the next week. And phase 3 is paid by the end of the month. Yes, all 3 of you get paid by the end of the month. Incredible great news across the board. Now, as we go back to forced stimulus, here's an important thing to understand is that the mask mandate is being lifted across the country. That started on Thursday as the CDC announced that the mask mandate, if you're fully vaccinated, is lifted indoors and outdoors. New York, Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, lifted the mask mandate in New York today. California lifts it on June 15th. Other states have already lifted it. And then more corporations today, whether it's CVS or Home Depot or Lowe's or Ultra Beauty, have now lifted the mask mandate in their operation stores if they're not locally required. What's important to understand is that when we're looking at the Senate House proposals, the House proposal was based upon pandemic plus 1 year, but then 1 year may be all you're seeing in the stimulus package. Here's what's at issue, is that the House proposal said pandemic plus 1 year, but many now believe that the vote will happen before after the pandemic ends. If the pandemic's ending in the next 30 days and the vote is in July, then that would signal that the House proposal would give you 1 year of checks, 12 checks, whereas the Senate proposal will give you 6 months of checks. But if you compare the money across the board, House proposal would give you $13,000 over 12 months, and Senate proposal could potentially give you the same amount of money, $12,000 over 6 months. So if you're in the live chat, which one do you like? Senate versus House, Senate versus House. Drop your comments right now. I think you like Senate, because if the vote is by the month of July, that means the pandemic will likely be over by then, and the Senate proposal pays nearly the same amount as the House proposal, just in half the amount of time. Wow. So now let's go to the big exciting news about that forced stimulus check. I just talked to you about the House proposal. Guess who wrote the House proposal? Jalapal was one of 2 House members who wrote the multiple stimulus check bill. There's actually a bill for it, and it was written by Jalapal and another House member. Well, who wrote a letter today, or this week on the 17th? Jalapal. And it was signed by 100+ House Democrats. The same 100+ House Democrats who wrote the president before to do multiple stimulus checks saying we're not voting for the bill, doing the 2-step 2-bill process unless there's monthly stimulus checks in there. And we're putting them in there. Well, what do they write today in this incredible, what do they write this week in this incredible letter released today? We are calling for the vote of the forced stimulus package immediately. Wow, this is incredible great news. In a letter to Nancy and Chuck, those 100+ House members led by Jalapal, say procedurally, with no substance as what they're talking about in the bill, but procedurally, they say, we have waited long enough. We have already been working on the legislation in the subcommittees. We are ready for a vote. Call the vote. Wow, wow. This is just breaking here today on LALATE. As if that is not enough, then we had House members come out and publicly say, we have waited long enough. It is time to call the vote. This is incredible. So the comments came out across the board from Democrats. Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat of New York, when asked, should they wait any longer to call the vote and wait for Republicans to get on board? Absolutely not, she says, because we might lose our coalition for human infrastructure. And then I don't think that the White House should relegate recovery to the recovery of Mitch McConnell because you will not function in good faith. So I just think it's a terrible misstep. Then Ruben Gallego said the Republicans are not being even players. Just move without them. Incredible, great news. He's saying get it done, get starting. Time to pull the trigger, he said. Mark Pocan, Democrat of Wisconsin, says, at what point do you seriously come to the table? If the Republicans don't come to the table, it does not mean we, Democrats, don't serve the meal. Incredible statement. And then came this statement from Senator Majority Dick Durbin, who said, get it done, but you can still talk to the Republicans. We ought to have a timely negotiation with Republicans, but get ready to finish the reconciliation. Wow. And then finally came the comment from Ro Khanna. I think we should move forward with our bill. Incredible. Now, let me explain to you what also came out. We have confirmation today as well that Nancy Pelosi will be calling the vote no later than July 4th, which I've already indicated to you over the last few weeks. Now, what did the president and other Democrats basically indicate today in the messaging that I just detailed? That they're calling for the reconciliation to go to a vote immediately. They don't want to wait another minute. They don't want to wait for any Republicans. Why? Because the Republicans offered $500 billion 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and this week. The Republicans haven't moved $1 in nearly a month and a half. Meantime, the president, for purposes of optics only, for purposes of presentation only, will reportedly, according to multiple reports, still have meetings, meaning he'll meet you for lunch and say, no, I'm not doing that, through up till Memorial Day. And that at Memorial Day, the president will stop having meetings with the Republicans. But for purposes of substance, the Democrats who are writing the bill say that it is likely nearly finished in the reconciliation process and needs to be called for a vote immediately. Incredible, great news. And coming up in the second half of this recording, I have big, exciting, great news about what's happening with this stimulus. It's coming out of the Federal Reserve minutes ago. As the Federal Reserve's minutes were released, and we'll go over why the minutes are very important for this stimulus. But first, if you need help for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more, reach out to your city, county, and state. If you cannot find it, don't worry, because we have viewers just like you who have stepped forward to be the volunteers. They're on the community page. Where is the community page? It's in the description to this video. In the description of this video, there is an emoji of a house. The house sends you to the webpage, news.lalate.com/community. On that page is a picture of some cats. And on that page are the volunteers. They can help you with rent, mortgage assistance, utilities, and SNAP and internet. Reach out to them. They'll be happy to help you and find that money. And guess what? I'm going to look for you back in 60 seconds after this commercial break about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LALATE. I'm in the live chat. Say hi. Big updates about your fourth stimulus check are heating up right now. It started with the incredible great news as the people behind the fourth stimulus package check, that monthly stimulus check, have written now a letter to Chuck and Nancy saying, call the vote. Don't wait for any Republicans. But I got more breaking news about fourth stimulus coming up in the second half of this recording. Then also big updates about fifth stimulus. So subscribe. This is LALATE. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, financial news across the board. The best and only one channel of its kind. Be part of this channel, now at 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in just less than 1 year, and also like this video. Let's do 2, 3, 4,000 likes. Get that finger on that like button right now. And consider becoming a member so you have access to the letter, so you understand what's going on and all the other PDFs that separate first, second, third, and fourth stimulus and fifth across the board. And with that, wow, what a big day it is. I'm really excited you for joining me. Let's cut to the fifth stimulus and why the Federal Reserve statements today were fascinating and impacting your fifth stimulus package. What is the fifth stimulus package? It is the latest stimulus package that heats up in September. It's a two-bill, two-step, two-month process, just like the fourth stimulus, but the only difference is instead of adding in stimulus checks, they're adding in SSI and SDI reform. What is it? Let's go over the details of it, and then we'll go over the breaking news from the Federal Reserve. It will raise your benefit limits, then remove the asset cap, then add an inflationary benchmark, then remove the income exclusion, and then remove the marriage penalty. That's the fifth stimulus package. Now let's go over the breaking news and how it calculates for you. First, let's understand how benefits are lifted. Under the fifth stimulus, they would lift your benefits up one big time. So if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or if you're on multiple benefits, they would lift your benefits up one big time under the fifth stimulus package law. Okay? Then what they would do is add a benchmark. What is a benchmark? A benchmark is what they apply to your benefits every November approximately, or December, and say, oh, your benefits are going to go up next year because the benchmark went up. So for example, if the benchmark was 4%, then your benefits would go up next year at 4%. Well, what's the benchmark going to be? Inflation. The difference with the fifth stimulus package is they're going to change the benchmark and use the new one, inflation. Now, over the last few weeks, we've been detailing how the inflationary rate later this year may be 2 to 4%. But then we got incredible great news yesterday as one of the heads out of the Federal Reserve from Georgia said that his growth indicator shows that we will see 250% higher growth in December than we're seeing right now. That ain't 2% inflation, people. That's about 5 to 7% inflation. Last Friday, Jeremy Siegel, professor at the Wharton School of Business, said the inflationary rate in December will be 20%. Minutes ago, the Federal Reserve released its minutes of its April meeting. That meeting was before the CPI, which is inflation tracker, and the PPI, which is also inflation tracker, were released later thereafter. So what did the federal minutes say before these new numbers came out? They said that we think we are focusing still on a 2.5% inflationary rate, but we still may go higher. Wow. Incredible great news, because we, by all accounts, now see that if the inflation rate continues at the current growth, we're going to see inflation upwards of 5% approximately. If that's true, or higher, like a 20% from Jeremy Siegel, you're going to see incredible changes to your benefits. First, they're going to raise up your benefits under the fifth stimulus package law. And let's say the inflation rate does go to 5%. Then they're going to raise you 5%. You never step down. They use the benchmark as a way to step you up. Remember, the step up or you stay the same. So let's say in the year after this, it's 0%. You stay the same. You don't step down. But next year, if it's 2%, you step up another 2%. Incredible, great news across the board. Now, what are the other items of the fifth stimulus package? The next one is removing the asset cap. Incredible, big news. That's so that you can stay on benefits and keep more than $3,000 on hand, which is currently prohibited for many of you under SSI and SSDI and other programs. Then they're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. So if you want to work, you can go work $1,000, $2,000 a month, go get it. Incredible, great news. And finally, the big news is the end of the marriage penalty. So if you are married and have suffered from it, or you want to get married and you have not because of it, it's going away. It's incredible, great news because love will win. You will be able to marry your lifetime partner and not lose benefits. All right, let's turn back to why this breaking news about forced stimulus today is so important and explain to you how forced stimulus checks are different than other stimulus items. So the reason why this is such breaking, incredible, great news is that ultimately the people who wrote the multiple stimulus check bill for the House and wrote the president and signed a letter, hundreds of them, saying they're going to put monthly stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus package, whether the president does it or doesn't, are the same people who are writing Chuck and Nancy a letter now saying, guess what? Call her for a vote. Don't wait any longer. Second, what's going to happen between now and Memorial Day is that they're going to finish writing the bill in those subcommittees. They don't have press conferences. They don't showcase what they're doing every day. There's no progress report. They don't grandstand and come out and have a press release every day they write another 10 pages. So don't expect an update from these people on a regular basis. But the incredible great news is they're saying, we ain't waiting. So we're finishing the language of the bill and we're ready to call for a vote. Get ready to call for a vote. Finally, they say the president can have lunch meetings with whoever he wants to have lunch meetings with, even if he's going to say, I'm going to have them up to Memorial Day. But we're ready to call the vote. Incredible, great news. Finally, what's important to understand is that fourth stimulus checks, those monthly stimulus checks, are getting universal support from both Democrats and Republicans, locally and nationally, because they understand that stimulus checks get you caught up on your bills. Yes, America is reopening. Yes, people are getting back to work. Yes, people are working, but they're still behind on their bills. And the only instrument to get them behind on their bills is a fast cash infusion that comes in a quick duration that gets you caught up in your bills. And that's the Senate proposal for the fourth stimulus checks. More money over a shorter duration to get you caught up in your bills. Proposals of potentially $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Yes, people are getting back to work. Yes, the economy is reopening. But no, people are still behind on their bills. Going by the wayside in the contrast are other stimulus items. The stimulus items are unemployment stimulus, rental stimulus. They ain't coming back under fourth stimulus package. PEUC, PUA, and FPUC likely not to come back under fourth stimulus. Unemployment rental stimulus like rent aid, eviction moratorium, and mortgage assistance, mortgage stimulus, homeowners assistance like mortgage assistance, utility assistance, not coming back under fourth stimulus. So it's important to understand that Republicans and Democrats both understand, finally, that stimulus checks get you caught up on your bills. Even if you're working, even if the economy's reopened, we need stimulus checks to get us back over the finish line. And with that, boy, what a day it has been. It has been a roller coaster. Wall Street is down sharply earlier today amid new fears of growing inflationary rates. The 10-year Treasury note was up substantially, 1.67, heading to potentially 1.7%. Crypto was down substantially over this morning, then regained speed. Lots of volatility in this market. Meantime, there is economic instability, and that's why you need fourth stimulus. The housing market is down as new home starts had their worst number in 15 years last month. That number came out yesterday. As home builders are leaving houses at concrete foundation and not framing them because of the price of lumber, we also learned that other parts of the economy are not reopening and are stalling, as lumber, copper, and silver and other commodities are through the roof. So with that, you definitely need stimulus. And you need those stimulus checks. And I also definitely need to see you in 2 hours from now. As Evenings LALATE heats up, I can't wait to see you on Evenings LALATE in 2 hours now. Followed by Evenings Crypto. A double dose of big shows coming up tonight. Don't miss those Evenings LALATE as I have more updates about what's going on with this push for the vote. Also, like this video if you've not. 3,000 likes. Subscribe. I want you part of this family if you haven't subscribed. And consider becoming a member to get access to all these PDFs. The member link is at the top of the chat. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful afternoon. Keep on smiling. And I'll see you on Evenings LALATE coming up next.